and we're going to talk about UFC. A little bit of what's happening right now. UFC 319 that happened on Saturday in Chicago. I was there. We got to start at the top, man. Khamzat Chimaev, in my opinion, is the greatest grappler I've ever seen in mixed martial arts history. And I'm gonna tell you something. So let me qualify my statement first. I have covered combat sports for 17 years for Forbes and other publications. I have watched for 35 years, watched intently. Like I saw Hoist Gracie over 30 years ago, and I was hooked. And I watched, and I've seen pretty much every single numbered UFC show there is. I maybe missed like 10, maybe, and we are on 319. Not to mention, I've seen majority of the fight nights as well. So this is not coming from somebody that's just started watching MMA. And we'll talk about a little bit of those people in a minute. I say that because the first person, obviously, that comes to mind when we talk about greatest grappler in MMA history is Khabib Nurmagomedov. And Khabib is definitely right there, in my opinion. And before Saturday, I probably would have still said that Khabib was number one. But what I saw from Khamzat on Saturday and what I've seen from him in pretty much every match he's had in the UFC is not only is he strong, heavy on top, and just insanely successful with takedown attempts, even when people know that that's without a question what he's coming to do. Not only that, but he also is a better natural athlete than Khabib. And I think that to me is where he inches past the legend. Look at Khamzat in scrambles. Look at how quick, violent, and cat-like he moves to either stay on an engagement that failed initially, to transition to stop someone's attempt to sweep. The way this dude moves is different. And when you combine that with his mentality, his physical strength, his size, and his just otherworldly skill, I've never seen anybody like it. Dricus is not a wrestler by trade, right? But Dricus is a big, strong, powerful dude. If you'd have saw them in the octagon on Saturday, there was no question. Dricus was so much bigger than Khamzat. So much bigger. Just legs huge, back huge, just big, nasty dudes, right? But I'm going to tell you something, man. The way he was ragdoll, like I don't know how many of y'all saw these stats. Khamzat landed 529 significant strikes. So it's not like he's just grabbing him and holding him down and doing nothing. And did you see Dricus's face after the fight? He's doing damage, right? 21 minutes and 40 seconds of control time on an elite fighter. Because make no mistake, DDP is an elite fighter. It was the most dominant title change victory I can remember. I'm trying to remember somebody taking somebody's title in a more dominant way. And what I mean by that, like, yes, I've seen people get one punch knocked out and lose their title. I've seen that, right? Well, obviously we saw 13 seconds knockout with Conor McGregor dropping, Jose Aldo. We saw Sean O'Malley knock out Jermaine Sterling. We saw all that, right? But this, in my opinion, don't get me wrong, one punch knockouts are very impressive. But in this, in my opinion, was even more impressive than that, because this is sustained dominance over a elite level fighter, an elite level champion with size, who literally trained for you and this approach for months and got in the octagon with you and had no answer for it. I don't know what middleweight really truly gives Khamzat that I can think of that's on the horizon right now, right? So Nasruddin Imavov is up there. We got Fluffy, who's about to fight RDR. RDR is an interesting he's an interesting matchup because RDR's grappling is crazy. He's also big, long, and he's not going to fear the takedown because it's where he lives too. But I think the athleticism, because Khamzat's a much better athlete than RDR, I think that might be what gets him. But I don't know. That one's honestly, that's the one that's the most interesting. Fluffy, you can't count Fluffy out. He is fantastic on the ground. He has fantastic cardio. But I don't know ground wise. I don't think it's quite Khamzat. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out. But I don't think it's quite Khamzat. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that, man. That one will be great. But Khamzat's special. He is truly special. In other UFC 319 related news, I don't know how many of you guys saw. The UFC cut Brian Battle pretty fast. Well, pretty fast after UFC 319. Not necessarily pretty fast overall. 30-year-old former tough winner was supposed to fight Nursultan Ruzaboyev on 319. That fight ended up getting scratched because Brian Battle missed weight again. It was his back-to-back times missing weight. So you got to understand something with Brian Battle. It's a couple things, right? And this is like allow you to see both sides. Why did the UFC cut him? Back-to-back weight misses in 2 different weight classes. And I think this was the 4th or 5th time, maybe 4th time, he's had weight issues with the UFC. And I think he's only had like 8 fights with the UFC. So that's a lot. The fight before this, he missed weight against Randy Brown. Randy Brown felt that he did it on purpose and felt really some type of way about it and ended up lost that fight to Battle. And it was just, it was kind of a nasty kind of feeling. I didn't even think Brian Battle was very apologetic at all, even afterwards, for what looked like, strategic weight miss. So now here he goes. Now that fight was at 170. This fight against Ruzaboyev was at 185, and he misses weight again. So you have, even though you're on a 3-fight win streak, and you have a fan-friendly fighting style, 7-1 with a no contest in the UFC. Even though with all of that, you're costing the promotion some money because you're getting fights pulled, missing weight. Even though they fine you, but that's you're massively inconveniencing fighters. Nursultan Ruzaboyev walked right past me at UFC 319, and he did not look happy. He don't never really look happy, but he didn't look happy. He looked quite annoyed that he's supposed to be fighting. He trained. He cut weight. He did whatever he had to do to be ready, and his opponent did not. And so the UFC cut him, and I can't blame them. It's a professionalism issue. But here's the other side of that. Brian Battle used to weigh over 300 pounds. Like when he graduated high school, he's weighing like 300 pounds. He has competed in MMA at heavyweight. If you saw this dude, I'm going to see if we could get some images to put up. If you saw this dude, you'd see what I'm talking about. Like he was a heavy dude, right? Fat. I'm just being honest. And I'm trying to drop some pounds myself, so I don't feel like I'm talking about another group when I say that, And so you see how far he's gotten. In 190, which is what he was when he weighed in. It's obviously he's not in bad shape for a guy his size, but it's not in professional fighting shape if you are trying to compete at middleweight and this is your second straight time doing this. So I get it. I don't know what'll happen with Brian Battle, man. He's only 30, which is not super, super young for the weight class, but it's not old either. He could maybe go to LFA if they'll have him back, or he could go to the PFL, make weight consistently for maybe 4 fights or something, win. And then that history of making weight maybe would convince the UFC to bring him back. But I don't think he's going to have a chance to fight in the UFC again without a sustained period of showing that he can make weight. And I'll be honest, I can't say that they're wrong for that. There is another thing that I did want to bring up about that Khamzat fight. I forgot to talk about it at first. there's some fighters, Robert Whitaker and RDR, have slammed referee Mark Goddard for the stand-ups during that fight. And I would have to agree with them, man. I was there. The crowd was booing really loudly at points because, I mean, Khamzat was taking him down early in the round, every time, right? I'm not hiding what I'm doing. But he's dominating him. He's landing strikes from the top. And Mark Goddard, I still think, is the best referee in MMA. I don't think there's a better one. I think he's a better referee than Herb Dean. I think Mark's the best. But even the best make mistakes, and even the best are human. And sometimes they can buckle to what's happening with the fans. And I think that he buckled to the boos that were coming down from the United Center crowd. He's also got in the back of his mind, Dana saying things like, nobody who wants to see anybody just grab a guy and lay on him, which that's not what Khamzat was doing. And I think all of that's kind of going in your head while you're doing your job. And Khamzat was always working, trying to get finishes, landing punches on the top. I mean, how'd you hit him 529 times and ever was there a period in 21 minutes where you weren't trying to get something done, to get a finish or to do damage? So I just did not agree with the stand-up. This is a sport, y'all. I know y'all think it's fighting, just plain old fighting, and you get bored. Some of the casuals get bored if it's not knockdown, drag out in the street, on an alley kind of fighting. Then I think you should go watch, what's Street Wars or whatever that is, where death sentence fights or something. You need to go just watch that, because in the sport of MMA, grappling, control, submissions, all of that is a part of the sport. It's just as much a part of the sport as striking, stand-up. It's just as much a part of it. And there are going to be moments where the person is fighting and working for position. It's going to be don't get me wrong. I've seen the big, heavy, out of shape heavyweights just get top position. Both of them are tired, and one guy just lays on the other guy, and the guy on bottom is too tired to move, so he can't do anything or whatever. Honestly, when you see someone continuously getting taken down over and over again, stop booing the guy that's taking them down and start booing the guy that can't stop a takedown. In my opinion, it's like this. If you're watching football and you want to see a shootout and you want to see people throw the ball up and down the field and left and right, they just want, you got both quarterbacks throwing the ball 65 times and score 62-58 or something at the end. If you want to see that, and that's the only kind of football you want to see, and you have no appreciation for this particular team has a running game that the other team just cannot stop. Up front, they're winning. They're winning the battle in the trenches every time. Offensive line is dominating the defensive line. There are holes wide as freaking the Suez Canal for the running back to run through. And they are just continuously pounding this other team with the ground game. But you oh, this is boring. All they're doing is running the ball. You don't like football. You like passing. It's a part of the game you're not appreciating. And that's just how it is. It's even in basketball. I'll give you a bunch of scenarios that relate to all other sports. And that's what I think people need to understand. This is a sport. If I'm watching basketball and I got Shaquille O'Neal and and the other team we're playing cannot stop me from dropping the ball down low, and he just keeps destroying who's ever guarding him on the block and keeps getting finish after finish in the paint. Not even all of them are dunks. He's dropping them in baby hooks, right hand, left hand finishes, drop steps, up and unders. He's doing this kind of thing, and he's scoring. But there's no threes. There's no fast break dunking. But this team, the Lakers, or whoever he's playing for at the time, the Lakers, the Magic, the Heat, the Cavs, the Celtics, are killing Phoenix Suns, even though that level of Shaq didn't play for those teams. But they're dominating. So should they stop? Because you'll be more entertained if they shot more threes or threw alley-oops to guys coming off the wing, backdoor cuts, people from the dunker spot. Should they do that more? Should they risk losing because you want to be entertained playing a certain sort of way? If a baseball team has a roster that's built on speed, they don't have a lot of home run hitters, but you love seeing home runs. Should they not bunt? Should they not steal bases? Because you don't think that you only are excited by home runs? It's a sport. And to quote my man Herman Edwards, you play to win the game. Is that not why you play? And if you are a dominant wrestler whose path to victory is wrestling, control, looking for finishes, doing damages from the top, but this is your way, and you get a takedown within the first 15 to 20 seconds, boo the guy with bad takedown defense. Don't boo the guy who keeps getting the takedowns. That's just me. That's just me. But I think I'm right. I think I'm right.